Hey everybody, James Yeager with Tactical Response here at Royal Range in Nashville to take the Red Dot Instructor class for Modern Samurai Project. That's Scott Jelinski who is teaching. AJ from Practical Performance is his assistant instructor. I'm here to learn more about the Red Dot and how I can teach people better how to use it for defensive purposes. If you know my history of Red Dots, you know that I'm kind of up in the air with it. And so stay tuned here because we're going to show you clips from class, and I'm going to do an interview with Scott when the class is over to get my final thoughts and his final thoughts of my performance during the class.
I'm going to teach you some stuff here. It may not work in the class because you're going to have to do 10,000 reps because slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Shut the fuck up. All they did was get them off the hook, right? Because you ain't doing 10,000 reps in their class. So you ain't getting better in their class. Now they're off the hook, all right? By the way, you guys know the third part of that axiom? No matter how hard I work out here, no matter how hot or how cold it is outside, if it's outdoor range, still better than talking to fucking real estate agents. The argument on the internet that has replaced 9mm versus 45 ACP as God's round is, do you zero your red dot pistol at 10 or 25 yards? Let me be clear, I don't care. Okay, I don't care. Mainly the reason is this: if you can shoot, right? If you can shoot, your zero really doesn't matter. If you can't shoot, your zero really doesn't matter, okay? But that being said, does anybody know the difference, right? Where does a 10-yard zero, a good 10-yard zero print at 25 yards? Anybody? 0.7 inches high. As long as you do your job and you got good ammo and a good gun, 0.7. That means aim here, hit here. Anybody got more important shit to worry about than that? Yeah? So we're gonna try and put 3 rounds in those 1-inch squares. AJ and I are gonna come up to you and help you adjust your zero if necessary, right? But here's the thing, we're not your dad, it's your gun. If you don't want us to touch your zero, we're not gonna touch it, right? But if you shoot 3 rounds high and to the left and you go, hey bro, it's cool, I got a 17-yard zero, and I look at you like this, you might want to reconsider, but at the end of the day, it's your gun, right? Okay, all right, so we got one off to the right, okay? Am I gonna change my zero because of that one right there? Look, it's first shots of the day, right? That may be a symptom of too much caffeine, not enough caffeine. You haven't taken your first dip of the day, right? And maybe you're doing something like this, right? I'm gonna do the other 3. That's why we do 3. Now I got 2 rounds in the same hole off of this right here. Am I gonna adjust my zero, right? For me personally, I am not. Here's why. I demoed with this gun down at Okaloosa Sheriff's Office in Florida, right? And they were all in the middle. I was shooting American Eagle 124. This is like Angel Fire 136.5 or some shit like that, right? But I got 2 rounds touching a 1-inch square at 10 yards, okay? If your life requirement is that you have to be more precise than hitting a 1-inch square at 10 yards, you're living a hard life, right? But that's you, that's not me, you do you. We're gonna help you zero that out. Does that make sense? Cool, all right. Yeah. Sure. I'm gonna tell you you're good. Because on that first one, second one, boom, right on there. Third one, a little bit. So, if this is one of your students' targets, right? So say it was here, here, and here, they need to stop talking about 25-yard zeros and shit like that, right? But it's here, right? Like if I looked at your skill level and stuff like that, we got a little bit to the left. If you want to bring up one to the right, I wouldn't be mad at that. Make sense?
Yep. Cool.
Urgently, okay? Notice I don't say fast or slow, right? Your body doesn't know what fast or slow means in terms of miles per hour. When you tell your body, when your mind tells your body, shoot fast, it says, hey, pull the trigger and do it fast. Your body goes, how fast? Your mind goes, I don't know. Did anybody not have a shitty experience on this? Right? No, it was all that, right? You'd be amazed, man, right? Find the dot, 6 rounds, ready, up! Nice. Holster up, 6 rounds, ready, up! Notice the difference between the last 2 relays and that one, how much quicker that was? It's because they're finding the dot easier, so they're naturally shooting quicker. Let's see if that proves through. I had 2 Texas game wardens, right, out there. Those guys do work because poaching is a thing out there, right? Captain and one of his sergeants, right? Captain shoots like this, sergeant shoots like this. They've been making fun of each other for 10 fucking years, both telling the other one he's a shit show, right? By the time I get done with him, sergeant starts to shoot like this. And the captain goes, wait a minute, man. I've been telling you for 10 years you're a football bat. Why are you listening to this guy? Because he told me why. That's the whole thing, right? You gotta tell them why, otherwise they're going to forget it. AJ, did you get the orange gun, bro? So guys, this next part is grip, right? And again, whether you choose to adopt parts of what I'm showing you, again, it's a way, not the way. I'm gonna give you my explanation for why my grip is the way my grip is. That's my grip. See how high my support hand is, right? The pressure, thumbs completely relaxed because your thumbs don't do shit. Trigger finger completely relaxed. The pressure is on the drumstick of my thumb and my pinky, right? But notice how I'm on top of the bore axis, okay? Why do I do that, okay? The center of gravity for the gun is the bore axis, right? Think about this. Remember when you were a kid and your car broke down because you ran out of gas or you had a shitty car or something like that? You got behind the car and you had to push it. Where'd you put your hands? On the trunk, maybe on the bumper, right? Would you ever put it on the trail hitch? No, because it's below the center of gravity of the car. You're gonna work too hard, okay? I get on top of that bore axis here. If I'm on top, I control the gun. The pinky pressure keeps the gun from popping up. Being on top of the bore axis keeps the gun from going flat, and it also keeps it from dipping down too much as well, all right? I'm gonna show everybody my grip. Some of you may have questions. Reloads are important because it's a manual of arms of your gun. Statistically, are reloads important for you? Nope. Nope. Here's the thing, right? And don't hate me for saying this, law enforcement. Statistically, are reloads important for you? Nope. Right? So the only example I can give you as far as law enforcement goes, or it really goes down to civilians too, my buddy fight with a lone bank robber. They exchanged 62 rounds. Tim gave him 32 before he put him down in the face. Tim has switched to my high grip too. Not my high grip, the high grip too, because he's convinced if he had better recoil control, that fight would have ended a lot quicker. I'm not here to tell you what to do, right? But all I would tell you, for me personally, as a concealed carry civilian, I'd rather have 18 rounds that does this than 35 rounds that does this with a good reload in there, right? You do you. I'm only here to give you options based on a metric. This takes a little bit of time, guys, okay? Because I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna put your hands the way my grip is, and I'm gonna draw on your hands to show you the alignment points. If you don't want me to draw on your hands, sorry. Fuck off, it's gonna happen, okay? All right, just keep an open mind. Couple things, right? Your thumbs don't do shit. Your firing hand thumb, this thumb is the cock blocker, okay? This is your buddy in high school, boot, the academy, college, that after the female was acquired, he did not know to leave. I was like, oh shit, she's cute, what's her name? What do you mean you want me to leave? No, I can help, get the fuck out of here. There's also female cock blockers from what I understand. This thing gets in the way, get it the fuck out of the way, okay? This thumb doesn't lock out, right? Because if you lock your wrist, you lock your elbow, and we just saw what happens when you lock your elbow, right? So I know that's killing some sacred cows, but I want to show you something. Take your support hand and lock your wrist in your elbow like that. You feel all that tension in your wrist? Now give me a Fonzie. Any tension? Instead of gripping out, we're gripping up into the trigger guard. That turns your index finger into a resting bench, and we're pushing back slightly to the 1 o'clock, but look how the cock blocker is. Stressing, just relax, right there, okay? Now the 1 o'clock is toward your back plate. Okay, so 12, 1. Pushing up and slightly back to the 1 o'clock. When we do that, it turns this finger into a resting bench, slightly back and up to the 1 o'clock, keeps your palms together under recoil. Okay. And that's my grip. Okay, cool, that's it. My grip, left foot forward, elbow bend, put it all together, okay? Is that the answer you guys were expecting? Based on what his slide did. What did his slide do? Right? It's always the answer in the slide, right? It may be things he maybe think he's seeing because he doesn't know what to expect. Are you cross-side dominant, by the way? No. You're not, okay. So it's doing this. How much of it is doing that?
It was better.
It was better?
Yes.
Okay.
than what you were doing before?
Yes.
Better than your grip before?
Arguably.
Arguably. Okay, fair enough, fair enough, okay? Cool, so I immediately make the person do that. For instructors, the answer's in the slide. If the slide's doing this, I don't give a fuck what he says, right? You discover so much with that, with the input you get from the student based on what the gun does. But the answer is always in what the gun does. Here's the thing, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Fair fight's a stupid fight, right? And holy fuck, tightest thing I've ever felt. On my gun, on my gun. Is my wife still here? Anyway, she's just like, oh my God, she just left, right? So what's a high compressed ready? So first of all, compressed is it's my gun, not our gun, okay? So I'm compressed here, a high front sight proud, right? That means if I'm looking at the target in my bottom peripheral, I should see the front sight and the top of the optic in my bottom peripheral, all right? Don't get crazy on me and start muzzling St. Michael though, all right? So it's here, okay? Here, I see from the front sight to maybe half to the ejection port. Here, I see the entire gun. Why is that important? To me, aiming, right, in my estimation, is a visual relationship between the target and the gun. More of the gun I see sooner, the sooner I'm aiming, the sooner I'm putting effective rounds on target. Does that make sense, okay? Your support hand's being a bitch, boom, it goes to the left. So it's either high or it's to the left, right? How do we combat the high? Support hand, pinky pressure, dropping it. How do we combat the left? Stop punching out, bring it up to your dominant eye from your Mary point, and get your support hand on the gun sooner. Check your work through your sights, which is the exact same thing as when you're aiming, because you're one focal plane shooting, finger off, bring it back. If an instructor says line breaks don't count, it's because they want you to fail, right? If they want a higher sense of accuracy, just make the target smaller then, right? So don't become a sniper, don't do Ricky Bobby. You want to know everything that happens when that dot drops from 12 o'clock. Got it? Cool. Should look like something like this. We're starting at the 5. Why the 5 instead of the 7? Why is the 7 yard so important? I don't know either. Right? It's just, you know, you got the tooler standard, you got the build drill, you got some of my standards, the fab, blah, blah, blah. Look, we're starting at the 5, we're learning the process. Once we get the process in without stacking difficulty, then we'll move to the 7. Well, then why don't we start at the 3? Because you don't need the dot at the 3. Round on my command of up, ready. Up. Take just a little bit more time on that, brother.
Yeah.
Ready, up. Dot drop from 12.
Yeah.
Cool, that's it. That's all we're looking for at this point. Ready, up. Dot drop from 12. Yeah. Good. See that gun?
Yeah.
That's all it did. Ready, up. Your trigger guard is not a proprioceptive index. What does proprioception mean? It means I know where things are on my body at all times without looking. I know where my nose, chin, elbow, ass, ear is without looking. Unless I'm drunk. And then you guys got to test for that, right? Right? The trigger guard is not a proprioceptive index. My middle finger is. So when I come up, I aim for that middle finger every single time, and it's much more repeatable and consistent with that grip. So why do I do that instead of like the vice, push-pull? Look, y'all, I am not a math Asian, right? The Polish side of me took that shit over. It's fucking horrible. Just ask my wife, right? I don't, that 90, 10, 50, 50, 60, 40 shit, I don't know what that means. But I can torque 100% of my support hand up into that gun to lock it in and get on top of it. Does that make sense? Because if you go in too deep, you can't move your hand, right? So it's this. When I do it, right, I actually touch my thumbs together to make sure I got that 45-degree angle. Because if you go flat like that, you got no torque value in your pinky. So we're gonna go here. So as I come up, I'm up, over, and through. Up, over, and through. And if we do that, the dot will drop and you'll have that torqued in grip that I showed you guys every single time, and your gun will not move. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna demo this, but I'm gonna shoot James's target so that everybody can see what my support hand is doing. All right, here we go. High compressed ready, cock blockers out of the way. Support hand, index, middle finger to middle finger knuckle on my firing hand. I'm just like this, okay? As I come up, I'm coming up, over, and through. And then what does my slide do? Not a goddamn thing, okay? It's up, over, and through, up, over, and through, up, over, and through. I'm torquing my hand up. You know how people used to say, like, you need to squeeze onto the gun enough to where it starts shaking and then back off? Fuck that, don't back off anymore. Now, some of you may go, well, bro, you got that new Walther PDP jam, that's awesome. We ain't got that shit. We got cheap guns like staccatos and shit. I'm fucking with you. So to show you how it works, somebody give me their shitty ass gun. All right, here we go. Right? Right, so stock 17, stock trigger, what kind of ammo are you shooting?
It's like 115 grain, whatever.
Yep, pretty shit from an apartment. Watch, as I come in, I'm torquing up. A little bit too, there we go. Up. Right, so 19. Slide move, nope. Get in that position for him, sir. Perfect, and do me a favor, just do a dry fire rep until you find the dot, go. Feel that torque in with your hand?
Yep.
That's what I want. Ready, up. Good. Stop at your sternum. You're okay, you know. Ready, up. Good. Don't lean back, right? Because here's what happens, guys. So there's things, a couple things, right? What she was doing was the lean back, right? The problem with that is if I have my hand on my gun, open it so I can move, and I lean back, am I further or closer to the gun? Further. So it's the exact opposite of what I think is good, what we're trying to do about getting a good grip. Also, you'll see this all the time, right? Whether it's 3 o'clock or appendix, that. And then the guy puts the gun away and he does this. If you don't need to move your shoulder, put the gun back in. You don't need to move the shoulder to get the gun out. Do that. The problem with the shoulder and the ear is I'm looking at what I'm shooting at, I'm looking at what I'm shooting at, psych, right? And this is time and this is time. This is a moving axis and this is a moving axis, right? You want to minimize the number of axes that are moving. The only axes that should be moving are your arms, right? Because if I move my head, my hips, my shoulders, you're expecting those axes to all line up perfectly on the target. And that don't happen, does it? Got it? How should you think about that? Deceleration, modulation, coasting into it, right? It's like a stop sign, okay? Nobody goes to the end of a fucking stop sign and screeches on the brakes and goes from there, right? You get about 10, 15 yards out and you just coast that thing. So when you get to the stop sign, there's no energy. And then the police just keep on fucking going. Anyway, so there's no energy at the end. At 5 yards, I can do a 95.5 all day long. Do I want to do that at 25 yards? Probably not. Probably not, right?
Stand by.
8-1. All right. So the one slightly off to the left here, right? Not an excuse or reason. I knew I jumped that shit. I just gave up on it. I didn't give a fuck, right? I knew I jumped it, right? But that's the thing, right? I'm priming myself to go. I go on the B, not the P. Does anybody know how long that beep is? 0.3, yep, 0.3, right? Everybody here can do at least a 0.2 split. If you go on the B, not the P, you are 0.2 seconds behind me. You want to be 0.2 seconds behind anybody. So go on the B, not the P. Well, Scott, there's no shot timer in a gunfight. Bullshit, the other guy's the fucking shot timer. All right? Anyway, I'll get off my high horse. It's a very short high horse because I have bad knees. So that's the thing. Speed and accuracy come from efficiency. Efficiency comes from technique. If you do the process and you do the technique, you can do it right now on demand. Make sense? Cool. So let's think about the way that we first get introduced to a red dot pistol, right? So our buddy has a red dot pistol. We go out and he goes, man, this thing is amazing at distance. Check this out. So you go out to 25, 30, 40, 50, 70 yards. You hit a piece of AC size steel and you giggle like a high school cheerleader, right? And then you go, well, I would love that same level of precision up close. So you come up and shoot it, but because of the cone of deviation and that your A zone is lower than your vision, and you're looking at it from an iron's point of view, you don't see the dot, you look around and you fucking go, oh my God, I can't find the dot. It's slow up close. And then you make sure everybody on the internet knows. obviously at 0 and 1, you don't need hardly any information, right? But at 2 and 3, maybe 4, you don't need a lot of information to make an acceptably accurate shot at the speed and distance required, right? For example, I will ask you, right? Who shoots irons a lot still? Okay, so we'll ask you, ma'am, right? A zone, 3-yard line, 3 rounds in this A zone. What's an acceptable sight picture? Don't lie to me, I'm not a judge.
I would say as long as it's somewhere in the,
What is?
in the middle of
What
the
is?
front sight, somewhere in the middle of the rears.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You gonna keep on looking for that front sight at 3 yards, huh? Probably, what are we looking for?
Well, I didn't think of.
Yeah, the whole fucking gun. The whole gun right there. And why should you? Because that's all you need, right? That's all you need. Why do you need more than that, right? Shooting an A zone that big, okay? Because here's the thing, man. Regardless of the application, who, other than shooting something like dot torture, right? Can you name a time where you know you need to get your gun out and start shooting at 3 yards and you don't need to do it right now? Right now. The only answer I got to that is my buddy. He's a Chicago cop. He said, hostage situation. I said, Vincent, 3 yards? He's like, yep. I'm like, fuck. Chicago's fucked up, y'all. Chicago's fucked up, right? Other than that, though, right? So stop thinking of the red dot as just a tiny little red dot. It's a system, right? The only way for me not to find my dot these days is underwater, upside down, fighting sharks or some shit, right? But how did I get there? I got there by starting off with gross sight picture drills like this, okay? Because again, that guy who comes up to you and just like looks at you, he's like, hey man, where's the goddamn dot? Please tell me where the dot is, right? He starts doing drills like this where he knows he doesn't have to find that perfect dot picture and he starts to relax a little bit more. Guess what you find when you stop trying to find the dot? The dot. That's not Zen bullshit. What that basically is that when you get all fired up, man, and you try and find that dot and your head goes down here and it doesn't see it because it's up here, then you revert down to your irons, you go, ah, fuck, all this other stuff, right? When you stop trying to do and you just do that gross sight picture, your head stays up, you bring the gun to your eye, and because less axes are moving, you find the dot without trying, okay? But in order to not to try, you have to have some reference of aiming, and that's why we're gonna try these 3 gross sight pictures. Make sense? Cool, relay 1. So in the beginning, the draw has nothing to do with anything. Get your guns out, make them hot. We good? All right, guns out, guns out, guns out, guns out. On target. So guys, when we do this, we're target focus. Superimpose the back of your gun. Ready? 3 rounds. Up. Good. Now put the glass in the middle of the target. I don't care if you see the dot or not. Ready? Up. And finally cut that A zone in half with the top of your optic on target. Ready? Up. Very nice. Holster up. All right, guys, so now we're gonna learn how to transition from a gross sight picture to a refined sight picture. And a refined sight picture, I mean the dot. We're seeing the dot, right? So the drill, this is my 3 and 2 drill, okay? I say mine because I guess I kind of made it famous. So we're gonna start off with the gross sight picture, and then we're gonna transition to 2 shots in the 3x5, okay? Seeing the dot, all right? Now look, guys, here's the deal. What you need to think about is that this is something up close that you're shooting at 3 yards, right, with the gross sight picture, but the smaller target might represent something you're shooting further away, right? Like say 15 yards. And shooting something small at 15 yards with a gross sight picture is probably irresponsible and unnecessary. I'm gonna get on my very short high horse. I have bad knees, so my high horse is very short, right? I'm gonna tell you why I don't like the term cadence, right? I don't have a problem with the word or anything like that, but the way that we teach it, we attach this alphanumeric assignment to it, right? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And the way a lot of students do is that no matter where their sights are, on that last eye, they're pulling the fucking trigger, right? Shoot your sights. You can do it based on the rhythm or the pace of your sights, but the thing that ultimately determines it is your sights, okay? So I'm gonna demo this out of the holster, then I'll demo it in the holster later on, but I wanna tell you what I mean by pace or rhythm as opposed to cadence. So that first one, rise, fall, float, rise, fall, should sound like this. That long one being the transition. Boom, 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 boom. But I can control all of them based on my sights, not some arbitrary, weird, fucked up cadence, right? What do I mean by that? A lot of you guys, when we were trying to go quick on the one shots, you had a set determined in your mind of the pace of Ricky Bobby. And you shot that pace whether you saw the dot or not. Don't do that shit. That's a made up cadence. Shoot your sights. So there's two phenomenon of mistakes that I see. The first one, as you see that dot at the neckline, you pull that fucking trigger, okay? Don't do that. You gotta be patient. It's gonna happen. The second one is moving your head. Everybody look at the target. Can you see both the A zone and the 3x5 at the same time right now? And why you need to move your head. What happens when we move our head in transition? The gun follows and you go over, right? Just move your eyes. That's all you gotta do is move your eyes. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Who's that annoying chick that keeps on talking to the YouTube star? Hey, leave the famous guy alone. That's on video, that's on tape right now, right? There you go. All right, guys. So I'm gonna demo this for you, okay? And we're gonna go through all three modalities. We're gonna have a discussion about splits and transitions. Now, I know you guys, right, especially you face shooters, you like all that fucking gamer bullshit when you're talking about splits. I don't care about the numbers. All I care about is how my visual cues are labeled to that data. Does that make sense, right? So I'm trying to see what I do with my visual cues to know if it's more efficient, faster, more aggressive than what I was doing before. And the only way you're gonna do that is by talking about numbers and data and shit. Good. All right, 288. All right, so the draw on that was a 122, okay? 32, 32, 49. That transition up was a 49. And the final one where I let it fall back down was a 53. Man, get your draw down and get that gun out so that you can be more casual with your, and controlled with your splits.
Stand by.
Haha, 168, okay? 168, draw 87. Y'all, you can do a lot of good shit with an 87 draw, right? But let's look at the splits. 22, 18, 21, and 20. All of legal dating age, right? None of those are gonna get me in trouble, right? Does that make sense? Don't go down that IG fucking super split thing, because it'll work out sometimes, but not gonna work out all the time, right? So do something that's gonna work out all the time. A good, clean, efficient draw on target so that you can be more calculated with your splits. Make sense? Awesome.
Right, so I'm shooting a TP9SF, great gun with that new ACSS reticle Holoston, great sight. But he wants me to put my hand so far up on the gun that my knuckle hits the slide stop lever and makes it go up, locks the gun open. So I've switched to my Defiant Tactical gun, the John Wick gun, so I can better do the grip he is teaching.
That was outstanding. All right, here we go. Shooter ready? Yep. Stand by. That's a clean run in 222. You gotta do it twice. Yep, here we go. Shooter ready? Yep. Stand by. One low, 220. So the only thing keeping you from getting two, just reaction to that beat. Yeah. Whether or not that's important to you, that's up to you. Yeah. 222. Yeah, look me in the eye, sir. Oh. You're up, buddy. And no matter how well or how poorly you're doing, the Cougar always says, go faster. He didn't need to go faster, but he did anyway. The other guy is Stephen A. Smith. You know who Stephen A. Smith is, guys? He is that ESPN commentator, right? That no matter how well or no matter how well the team is doing, no matter what, it's like, hey man, I've been doing this for 35 years and I know suck when I see it. You suck, I don't suck, you fucking suck, and you suck too, right? Those are the two guys always vying for control. You need to calm those guys down, quiet them down, right? Don't shut them off, because sometimes you do need to go faster and sometimes you do suck, right? But when we're doing a test like this, you gotta quiet those guys down, focus on the process, because if you don't, that Cougar gets a hold of you, man, and you start losing motor function and shit. Got it? Cool.
Okay, so the day began with us getting a 10-yard zero. He explained why he likes a 10-yard zero, makes sense. And then the rest of the day has been getting used to getting the gun out, lining the dot, different techniques and tips to get the gun out, see the dot, aim the dot, use the dot. From 18 yards to confirm our zero, up to 3, doing fast, close stuff, using the dot and not using the dot, a combination of point shooting for gross shots and then transitioning to dot for like a headshot and things like that. I've learned a lot of nuances, a lot of techniques, and the whole class seems to be improving. Some very noticeable improvements among the students here. So I don't know if they think they're getting their money's worth, but I think they're getting their money's worth. I've enjoyed the class, and I'm picking things up. And like I said, I can see the other students learning things as we go.
This next part, in my opinion, is where the dot needs to convince you that it is superior sighting system to irons, right? Because everything I just showed you is wholly applicable to irons, completely, right? It's just easier to see, analyze, and diagnose and coach with the dot because you got less shit going on. Does that make sense? This is where it starts to separate though, okay? And it's based on vision, all right? If the dot's right there and I go bang, what's the first thing that goes to the S? Why? Because your body follows your eyes, right? So bang, eyes, bang, eyes, bang. You're gonna see 2 effective recoil patterns. Neither one is right, neither one is wrong. Your gun, your ammo, your grip, whatever, right? The first one is going to be a diagonal-like recoil pattern, okay? The second one is going to be an arcing recoil pattern, okay? Right around here is if you go square, eyes, square, eyes, square. Right about here is where you're gonna catch the dot in your peripheral. That's where you prep the trigger. It gets to the top of the square, that's where you pull. The round will land in the middle. Why? What's the reason for the difference? And from that lesson of momentum, if I wait to pull that trigger until it's in the center, where's the round gonna land? Low. And in this drill, what's the fucked up thing about missing low? I had to pass by the target to get there. So don't do that. Use your whole margin of error, right? If I break the shot at the top of the square, if it's at the top, the middle, the side, who cares? It's in the 2-inch square, okay? If you wait till it's in the middle, now you have a 1-inch margin of error. Why would you do that to yourself? Because you're a sniper, that's why. And if you're a sniper, let me know, let you lay down for the rest of the class, all right? Okay? So what happened there, right? Bang, prep, bang, prep, bang. What did you not hear in that whole thing? Click. You did not hear a reset. So I'm gonna get back on my very short high horse about pinning and resetting the trigger. When you guys are shooting fast, you didn't really do it, right? Oh, you're shooting so fast you can't really tell. When we were zeroing, holy shit. Click, bang, click, bang, click, bang, right? Here's the thing, every time you pin and reset that trigger and I hear a click, a puppy dies. Because I'll get a puppy and I'll kill it in front of you, all right? No, I'm just kidding, right? But here's the thing, man, we need to get rid of that. In the beginning, I understand when we're trying to learn the mechanics of the trigger, because you need to become intimately involved with your trigger. You need to know where the pre-travel is, how it breaks, right? Is it a rolling break? Is it a glass rod break? Some triggers, you guys pay for the pleasure of having a breach in that fucking trigger, right? Where the over travel is, the reset, what happens when you take your finger off the trigger? What does the trigger do all by itself? Reset. So why don't you just go ahead and let it? There is no work in the pin. Everything's in the prep, okay? But why do we teach the pin in the beginning, right? Bob, you've been around since the beginning of time. Why do people used to teach the pin and reset? Why? What's that? Right, but then we don't stop doing that, right? Why do police departments still tell you? Like when you go to in-service, if they don't hear a click, they start yelling at you and shit. Why?
I think they think you're jerking the trigger all the way through if you don't.
Right, so is jerking the trigger bad?
Depends.
Depends on what? Okay, okay? So how do we not move the sights? With a good trigger pull, right? Or with our support hand. You think your one trigger finger can overpower your entire support hand. And you're not wrong. You know why? Because your support hand's being a bitch. And I say it that aggressively because it needs to be that convulsive, right? When your hand starts to separate off the gun or you're being lazy with this thing, it's being a bitch, right? For my LEs here, right? When was the last time you read that report? It says, yep, I saw my irons, I saw my sights, and I heard that trigger click every single time. Never. You're not gonna shoot that during the test. You're not gonna shoot that way. Stop practicing that way. Again, in the beginning, as you're teaching how it works, but then tell them to stop that shit because it doesn't matter anymore, right? Here's my example. This target is the gun, okay? When your support hand's being a bitch and you slap the trigger, this happens, right? Chaos. When your support hand's a brick wall, you can do any goddamn thing you want with your trigger finger within reason, right? Because that's how you're going to shoot when you're under stress, right? So which would you rather rely on? A perfect trigger press to the rear or a strong support hand? Which one do you think you're gonna do more likely in a test? It doesn't matter if it's a match. It doesn't matter if it's my black belt patch. It doesn't matter if it's an OIS. Grab onto that gun with your support hand with all your might, and then you can do anything you want with this within reason, right? Classic examples. If you look at the great one, Rob Latham, you see him shoot groups at 50 yards, he's banging on that thing like it's dating his sister. But because he's grabbing that thing with his support hand for all its life, 3-inch fucking groups, right? Ben Steger, JJ Ricazza, Shane Coley, the list goes on and on. The one thing that's common between all of them, even though they may have different styles, is that support hand is crushing the fucking gun, okay? I don't care if you're shooting for groups, accuracy, or speed, get used to crushing that gun. Does that make sense? All right, back off my little high horse there, okay? Doot, doot, doot. All right, dropped one, my bad, I ain't perfect. What happened to my pace as I went along the demo? Increased just a little bit, right? Increased, right? Did I go MSP, MSP, MSP the whole time? No, I mixed up the sequence, right? MSP, PS, SP, PM, yada, yada. How did I do that? How did I increase my pace and mix up the sequence while keeping 99% accuracy? So in order to get the full epiphany, we need to walk step by step by step. Don't get ahead of me, right? The letters have to be clear. When you're shooting, if these letters are not clear, you're getting sucked into the dot. Another way to think about it, right, is if you have to think of everything in 3 focal planes because you're so used to shooting irons, right? Think of the target as your front sight and your dot as your rear sight. Let that sink in, right? Because you'll have some of your students go, boom, got it, and they'll just go from there, okay? This is clear, the dot's fuzzy. Again, because the dot's so small, it don't matter if it's fuzzy or not. Make sense? Cool. One of the foregone conclusions is that the dot is awesome at distance, right? But what do we not practice? Draws at distance, okay? So again, we're gonna come out here, right? We're gonna practice some draws at distance, right? Are those necessary? Ask the Garland, Texas cop that shot that dude in the face at that art museum, right? Or not art museum, but art show, right? Ask our friend Jack at that church. That was 13 yards, right? It's important, right? And we need to learn how to track it with the dot. This is where that 80-20 concept really comes into play because the relative size of the target is much smaller since we're at distance. Any deviations in your draw are gonna be exponentiated at distance, right? So let's think about that, right? So why is it important? So when we draw and we punch out to that 100, as a right-handed shooter, where's that muzzle and dot going? To the left, right? So it's over here. So what do we need to do to correct it? Bring it back to the right, and then we pull the trigger, okay? So are these 3 things, 1, 2, 3, are these 3 things in the same plane of motion? They're not, so you can't do them at the same time. But if I race to the 80 and I drop the muzzle, if I race to the 80, where's my muzzle? Slightly high, just slightly high, and then we go coast to the 100 and it drops, right? So 80, Muzzle drops, I pull the trigger. Are these two motions in the same plane of motion? Yes, so you can do them at the same time, right? Because here's the thing, I don't care how fast you are. If you gotta do 3 things and I only gotta do 1 thing, I'm more efficient. If I'm more efficient, I'm faster. If I'm more efficient, I'm doing less, okay? If you need to solve a 25-yard problem in less than a second and a half, you got a lot of fucking problems, man, right? Mortals with iron sights can do 1.5 at 7 yards. Red Dot Master Race can do it almost 4 times the distance in the same time, okay?
Shooter ready. Stand by. 176.
176, barely made it into that thing, right? How many, again, what did this look like? How many of you went, oh, he gonna fuck this demo up. It's a good thing he's recording so we can put it on Instagram and ruin his career. And then he says 176. It's like, where the fuck did that come from? Between here and here, what was this? Quick, right? Boom. Bang. Guys, human perception is a shitty shot timer. That's why we got to put ourselves on a metric and a way of measuring ourselves, right? So 176, that was the 80-20. Good A-zone hit.
154.
154. Did everybody see the last 15%? Yeah? Yep. Again, this part is not this is not selling classes. This isn't selling, you know, any Instagram likes or anything like that, right? Everybody ignores that part though, the beginning part. Get that out, and then you can be casual and correct if you need to on the way out. Do not doubt yourself, right? If you do the process and do the technique, you will amaze yourself. But you gotta do the process, okay? James, you know which one that was?
Oh yeah.
Which one?
Oh yeah.
Which one was it?
The first one.
The first one. Sometimes it's
No, it's funny too because I'm there. Yeah.
yeah. That happens, man. That happens. Dry fire is for skill acquisition. Live fire is for confirmation of that skill. Okay. If you haven't guessed so far, I think the draw, right, is the foundation in successfully employing the dot. Because if you get a good draw, everything else can be kind of casual. You get a fucked up draw and it goes to shit after that, okay? So what I want you guys to do is A, buy a shot timer, please, buy a shot timer, okay? The second one is, I want you to find in your dry fire space, right? 5, 7 yards, whatever a distance applies to you, right? Get a good sized target, a USPSA target, an IPSC target. I'll give you some of my targets at the end of class tomorrow, right? If you don't have that, an 8.5, 11 piece of paper, high thoracic area. Stop shooting light switches. They're too small, they're too low. No one's ever been attacked by a fucking light switch, all right? So stop doing that shit, all right? So set it on a time, a par time, right? What's a par time? You set it on delay, hit the button, there's a delay, you go, and the second beep tells you what your par time is. If it's 1.5, it's 1.5, 1.3, 1.3, whatever, okay? You're gonna video yourself. If you're right-handed, you put it at 10 o'clock to show the support hand side. If you're left-handed, you put it at 2 o'clock to show the support hand side. You're gonna say one of 3 things depending on what you saw and what you heard in that rep. The first one is, beep, got the dot, got the time, okay? The second option is, beep, got the dot, didn't get the time. And then the final one is, beep, didn't get shit, okay? Then you want to find a way to watch and listen to that at 25% speed. The easiest way, start your own YouTube channel. It's free, right? Upload the videos and watch them. Mark that shit private so your friends can't troll you. I know, he's on it, yeah. And then you reduce the speed to 25%. You can watch and hear the sounds and you will see every single detail that you're doing, right? So the first one, right? That 0.3 beep goes from beep to and you're gonna see all the useless shit that you're doing, right? So the first one got the dot, got the time, right? Went on the B, not the P of beep. No useless motion in my head, shoulders, and hips. Awesome. Next one, got the dot, didn't get the time. The first time you see yourself react that late to the stimulus, you're gonna wanna punch yourself in the fucking face. Maybe you should, right? But here's the deal, right? I'm not here saying bad jokes, putting my hands on you, swearing way too much. So guess what? Now it's your idea. And since it's your idea, it speaks to the soul. And watch that problem go away of reaction time, okay? Welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Again, let's repeat the whole mode of yesterday, right? Be safe, work hard, keep an open mind, and more importantly, don't point guns at me. Everybody got that? All right, cool. We're gonna start off in the way that I kind of practice, right? When I get to practice. For you instructors, you know, if you want to shoot less, become a firearms instructor, okay? I'm teaching so much that my classes are my practice, but when I get those times where I do get to practice, we're gonna kind of set up today in the way that I do that, right? So what I do is I separate things, okay? There's accuracy mode, there's speed mode, right? I separate those two. And then the final one is what I call real mode, right? So those were adapted from a very famous competition coach by the name of Steve Anderson. I mentioned his book yesterday, right? He calls it accuracy mode, speed mode, and he calls it match mode. But for my friends who still thinks competition is going to get you killed in the streets, and you say match and they just shut off, I say real mode, okay? So what is accuracy mode, right? All you're doing is isolating accuracy. You're picking, you know, your level of accuracy at a certain distance. All you're trying to do is hit that target. There is no need for speed, okay? You're just working in that accuracy mode, right? The other benefit of accuracy mode and why I start that at the beginning of the day is because Daddy liked to go fast, and I got to learn how to control the cougar, right? So that's why I start off with that, to start off disciplined right away, okay? And then we get to speed mode. So you need to complement accuracy with speed. If you go down those two paths separately, you're either gonna be super accurate but super fucking slow and nobody cares, right? Or you go the other way, you're gonna be super fucking fast but can't hit shit, right? It's the balance of speed and accuracy based on the metric of the size of the target, right? And the speed that you want. Finally, and we're gonna complement that, we're gonna do that with the bill drill when we get done with accuracy mode. After that, we do, you do real mode, and real mode is the test, okay? A match. You're shooting somebody's standards, like my black belt patch standards, the fast coin, the super test, whatever, right? Or a fight, right? You're not thinking about fast, you're not thinking about slow, you're getting lost in the process, and as long as you do that, you'll get exactly what you deserve from all the hard work you put in before. Or you'll get exactly what you deserve from all the hard work you didn't put in before, okay? But be clear about this, right? If you think about the result and not the process, the Cougar and or Stephen A. Smith come in and it's gonna be a shit show, right? So to start with that discipline, we do accuracy, okay? My particular one that I do and how I show you guys my methodology is 10-yard line, 2-inch squares, 10 rounds. Got it? Cool.
I think that's 10. I think that was 10.
All right.
I have a theory.
Okay, you have a theory.
This is
Excellent.
like 3, 6, and 8.
Okay.
I shoot 1 or 2.
Yep.
Come back.
Yep.
Then when I went back out, I shoot and miss.
Yeah.
And to go, I didn't fucking readjust my grip.
Yeah.
Like I'd relax my grip.
Yep.
I think that's what I'm doing.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that from what I was seeing. So again, what we have a tendency to do is we either fix it out here, there's no dexterity out here, so it never winds up being well, right? But then we bring it out here to relax, but the grip still's jacked up, right? That's why I like my wave technique. As I come in, boom, and everything becomes one thing, focus on the thing, press the trigger, okay? I would agree with that. 1 to the right, 245. Shooter ready, stand by. Clean, right? 274 with a 64 split at the end, right? So 130, 20, 20, 20, 20, 64, 64. So if we take off 40 off of that, it would have been 234, which is awesome. All right, cool guys. All right, getting back how to find the dot when you're cross-eye dominant. there are 3 methods, right, that I discovered work very well. The first one is, now we can cant the gun. Why? Because my hand's over here, my dominant eye's over here. The other way to get it to is cant the gun, but only cant it enough to find the dot. We don't need to go full on NWA and go sideways and shit like some people do, right? It's just here. Know though that that gun for me is gonna track 1 to 7. As long as I know it's gonna track 1 to 7, I can control and predict its behavior. The other way is to bring your elbow into your center line, not to your ribs, into your center line, to bring it in front of your dominant eye. Notice now how the gun is straight up and down, right? And you may like that tracking, okay? The third one, use your non-dominant eye, all right? About 10% of my class can switch eye dominance, and it's a gift that they never knew that they had because all they did was the mantra of can't, right? You guys are gonna see if you have that gift because it truly is a gift. All right, first one, can't. There's a dot, okay? Don't accept recoil. My gun's canted, so it's gonna go that way, but you don't need to accept recoil just because you're going off of your support hand, okay? Next one, bring the elbow in. See how it was less of 1 to 7, more like 12:30 to 6:30, right? Finally, use my left eye. Okay, so while possible, so let's go through those, right? Your gait has nothing to do with your shooting speed, right? You shoot the dot. Your feet don't shoot the dot. So do me a favor, forget about that whole heel-toe Native American footsteps like a seal bullshit, right? Because if you're thinking about your feet, what are you not thinking about? Your sights. There's something down there that's gonna make you go down there, right? We have guns, so we don't need to get closer to what we're shooting, but there's some catalyst that's making you go down there, right? Hostage, down there. Wife and kids, down there. Tacos are fucking down there, right? So let's move with a little bit of purpose. Don't run, but also don't do this. Bang, bang. I'm not looking for that either, right? We good? Eyes and ears, everybody? Here we go. Oh, you're gonna break the shot, then you're gonna move. If you break the shot while you're moving, that happens, and Stephen A. Smith takes over, right? So break the shot, then move. Thank you for keeping an open mind. Thank you for working hard, right? And hopefully I've given you something at least to get better somehow, some way, right? Or at least made you think about things for you to get better in the future, right? So I'd like to hear, just get a little feedback, right? A great template is, did you learn what you want to learn? Did you learn something you weren't expecting to learn? And whatever else you would like to say. What I do give out in my classes, guys, are my patches, okay? So after you say your piece, come on up and get a patch, right? You're coming to me, not the other way around because I got bad knees. There are only 3 types of people that have these patches, right? Family, mentors, and people who have trained with me. These patches mean a lot to me. Hopefully they mean something to you. Here's the thing, man. I think it'd be like those other people you go to the instructor class and they tell you can't use their shit. You bought it, right? Knock yourself out, right? Now, that being said, if I helped you something specifically and you want to mention my name, I would ask you to do that because it's marketing, right? I can't tell you how many people I've said, well, I went to this guy's class and he did ready our class and he said he learned that from you, so here I am, right? Here's the thing though, right? If I do good and I help you guys get better somehow with this and you teach other people and they get better, for whatever reason, right? You make masterclass in IDPA, right? Someone gets home after a fight at night because they use something I said. I don't care if you mention my name at all, because if I do good and I help you do good and you help someone else do good and they get home at night, that's the only thing that matters, okay? So please use the stuff if you dig it. Always give the why. Always give the why, right? I'm not saying my way is the only way, but I'll tell you why I do it and why it works for me based on a metric, right? And here's the thing, where you're teaching something, you don't know how you do it, right? Someone asks you how to fix it and you go, I don't know, just fix it. Just stop that shit, stop it. Understand why you do everything you do. Even if you do it well,
understand, break down why you do it well so that you can be a better instructor, okay? You're also, right, like him, when you stop doing the extra stuff, you're brilliant. You're brilliant, right? And isn't that the frustrating thing? It's not when you mess up when you don't do the thing you're supposed to be doing. It's when you do the thing you're supposed to be doing and you add 20% more, right? Sometimes it's super hard to stop doing what you've been doing before, but that's why we video ourselves. That's why we have coaches. That's why we try and be better instructors, because when we minimize movement, minimize the number of moving axes, and then we become efficient, life becomes so easy after that. Sir? So again, the same thing with you of doing too much with the tactical turtle on the shoulders, right? You know, when you start rolling, you get that new white belt, right? And he's all tense and stuff, and you touch his knee and he falls down and goes, oh my God, how'd you sweep me? You're like, you swept yourself, dumbass, right? That's what we do to ourselves all the time, man. We get all stiff, we can't fucking move, and then we wonder why the gun doesn't go where it wants it to go. Be fluid, move, get your point of traction, friction and leverage, get on top of that gun and get to work with no extra shit. Do it from your knowledge base, right? Because if you start trying to explain things in terms of body mechanics or jujitsu, and you don't know jujitsu, it's gonna fall flat, right? Just like if you were like, say like the skinny jean wearing millennial who talks about tactics and had never been in the military or LA, it just kind of falls flat, don't it? Get on and be successful as much as you want to. Stop talking about tactics. Stop that, right? Because it falls flat. Why do I care what he thinks about shooting active shooters in a mall? Shut the fuck up, man. You ain't never done that shit. Shut up, right? Just like if you start trying to explain body mechanics through jujitsu when you've never done jujitsu, right? But you've played sports, you've done some sort of DT stuff, right? You've done CrossFit, something like that. Because the body works the way the body works. You just got to figure out how you're going to explain it to make it real. That make sense? Cool, awesome. Guys, when you do well, is that everybody? When you do well, don't fucking like downplay that shit, man, right? If no one else, because no one else is gonna mask in your own glory if you don't. Good stuff, sir. Yes, sir. Awesome. Okay. Word to the wise for you guys bringing this back to your departments. Don't, after, I know you, if you love my class, I appreciate that. Don't go back to your department and go, hold on. Everything we did before was wrong. We are fucking football bats. Don't do that, because they're just gonna go, fuck off, right? Maybe say, hey, I found some things where we could pick up some efficiencies. Let me show you this stuff, right? Because the minute you say wrong, boom, people are done. Don't do that, okay? Cool, awesome. I know you get this a lot, bro, but it just needs to be said, dude. I train with a lot of people, and I got to try a lot of people that make fucking excuses, right? They can't do this, or I can't teach that person to do this, or this and that and stuff, and that bullshit, man. So, bro, kudos to you for sticking to with this, man. You did a lot of, yeah, you can just throw it right there, dude. You did a lot of things to the class standard, bro, right? And even my class standards are fucking hard, right? If you do the national standard, okay, and this is just me, maybe a little bit hubris, but you know, I'll say what I want, but the national standard, if you can make the national standards on my standards, right, you're probably gonna be top 1 or 2 shooters in any self-defense tactical class that you probably take. Just talking about the shooting part, not talking about tactics and shit like that, right? You do my class standards, you're probably gonna be the best shooter in the class, and you're gonna give the instructor a run for his money. You get my black belt patch standards, you need to start teaching. You need to start teaching now, okay? Yeah, so dude, I have severe motion sickness, right? The first time I played Call of Duty, after the first 10 minutes, dude, I wanted to fucking throw up and take a nap. So I don't get into any of the game stuff, man. I'm old 70s, 80s, 90s, 2D. You know what I mean? Give me some fucking Pong. We're gonna get excited, right? The reason why I say that, right, is social media is filled in. Like, look, it's not evil. It is what it is. People do what they want, right? Well, yeah. But there's so much bullshit out there, right? Bro, you need to get out there, show people what you can do, and inspire some people, right? There's another guy, his name is, he goes by Nub Gunner, right? He got blowed up in Iraq, right? Similar hand situation to you, and that dude burns it the fuck down, and he inspires a lot of people, man. You need to do the same, brother, seriously, all right? That's not a testament to me, that's a testament to him and his hard work. I don't take credit for my students, right? Maybe I help you do something, blah, 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 but if you guys come to this class and you do awesome, and you never dry fire, you never live fire, you never get with the coach, you never video check, it ain't gonna stick. That ain't my fault if you don't work hard, right? He works hard, that's all his credit, right there, okay? Cool. Because if we do the technique properly, it works right now. Not 10,000 reps slowly and smoothly in the corner, and all of a sudden it's like, so here's my thing with that. I don't want to get back on the high horse, right? But I used to go like, hey guys, I'm gonna teach you some stuff here. It may not work in the class, because you're gonna have to do 10,000 reps, because slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Shut the fuck up. All they did was get them off the hook, right? Because you ain't doing 10,000 reps in their class, so you ain't getting better in their class. Now they're off the hook, all right? By the way, you guys know the third part of that axiom, by the way, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Third part of that axiom is speed is the economy of motion. That makes you think about it, right? Because now speed is part of it, right? The first two part was like, fuck, well, I'm slow, so I must be smooth. Oh shit, I'm fast, I'm done, let's go have a beer, right? You think about the last part, speed is the economy of motion, that makes you think about that axiom a little bit more, right? Without making excuses. Cool? Awesome. Don't do that, guys. Help people. You know what I mean? Now, here's the thing. If you're trying to induce stress and yelling is a part of that scenario or something like that, then knock yourself out. But just telling people that they suck, right? Who here has ever gotten better by being told that they suck? And if you do, you're weird, right? So give that, motivation that to punch that guy in the face later on, right? Because you're gonna succeed because you hate that guy. Come on, that's not the right way. But it worked. Hate is a powerful thing. Hate is a powerful thing, but hate doesn't make you better. It just gives you the fuel to find the answers to get better, right? Like be a good person, you know what I mean? Here's the other thing, right? If you use my stuff and you wanna mention my name, but all you do are supervised drills, keep my name out your mouth. All right, keep your name out your mouth, right? Give everybody attention, right? For example, when we did the burn-in session, right, where your coach was coaching you, how many reps did I do? Anybody figure that out? How many people are on the line? 11. How many reps did I do? 11. I went from person to person, AJ, we go from person to person to person, and I gave you something, right? If you did well, I got nothing to add. I gave you a pat on the ass or a high five. Way to go, right? If I saw something, I gave you something. Over a 2-day class, if you do that on every single rep, that person's gonna feel like they got a private lesson from you, right? As opposed to a lot of classes that I've been to, being one of the best shooters in class, what happens? You get ignored. You get ignored, right? And I asked the guys like, hey man, paid X $100 to come here, and you didn't give me anything. What's up with that? It's like, well, you look like you knew what you're doing, man. The reps are important for you. I had to watch other people to make sure they were safe. Okay. Notice also what I did. When I do 2 relays, at any given time, I got another 11 RSOs on the line, right? It worked once, because I didn't see somebody's gun was still out, and you went, oh, whoa, whoa, it works. Here's the other thing. If you think a guy is not safe, that he has the potential of shooting someone else on the line, kick him out of the fucking class. Believe me, the $400, $500, $600 you may or may not charge ain't worth somebody getting shot in your class. So kick that motherfucker out. It's nothing personal, just kick him out. Make sense? Cool. I want you guys to know something else, right? Did I coddle these two at all when they did great? These two broads, right? That's the other thing, man. We let females make excuses in our class, right? Last time I checked, there's not a gender button on your fucking pistol, right? They are smaller handed than some of you guys, but when they were running the gun and they did it well, it was like this. Stop letting females make it, sir.
I just want to add, you guys are teach, women don't want to be patronized.
Nope.
Like, they don't want that at all. And I get asked all the time when I'm going to do a women's only pistol class, I say, well, there's women's only gunfights.
There you go. That's a great point. I don't talk about gunfighting, so I can't say that, right? But yeah, I don't, it doesn't matter, right? Because I've seen big 300-pound dudes where that gun flips like there's nothing on it at all, and I've seen 95-pound women make the gun run like this, right? It's all about leverage, friction, and traction on top of the gun to make it, right? So don't let them have excuses, right? Because they don't deserve that from you, right? Cool. So when you make mistakes and you learn how to solve them, man, that's a win because your students are gonna make those same mistakes, right? Don't just beat yourself up and blah, 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 or don't absolve yourself of those mistakes either. Learn from those mistakes and get better, okay? Even after you've been through mine, right? And obviously, Jim Dexter started shooting dots because of me, right? And he's developed his own curriculum. The one thing that he can talk about that I don't talk about is shooting people in the face, right? And it's awesome, right? So I was helping him out at Skokie, Illinois, right? He did the transition class that you took, right? So he was like, all right, guys, here's the deal. No more ups, no more beeps. Now it's threat and bust them because now we're talking about fucking gunfighting. We're gonna shoot people in the fucking face. I was like, yes, shoot them in the fucking face, right? I can't do that stuff. So that's why you wanna go to his class, right? To fully get that blood pumping for that stuff, man, right? He's the king of the gingers, man. He is the king of the gingers. And that means the world to me because, guys, when you're a GM, man, at the very least, you have worked your ass off. Whether or not you think competition is applicable to you or whatever your application is, dude, you have to work your ass to be a master class shooter and to be a grandmaster. It's just next level stuff. And I think you saw that in his performance, right? So again, I tell people, if you got the time, man, the whole key is shoot with people better than you, right? Because if you're the best dude in the crowd, your crowd kind of sucks, right? So appreciate you, sir. Yep. Go shoot with people better than you. Great way, competition, right? USPSA is my favorite sport, right? But you don't have to go do that, right? You can have a competitive mindset outside of that structure. After that structure. Get some friends that talk a lot of shit, pick a standard, and go shoot that standard, right? And then once you get those skills, then you could apply it to anything that you want, right? It has been often said, right, from friends that do that work, right, that great shooting can sometimes make up for bad tactics, but great tactics can't make up for bad shooting, right? Just something to think about there from what I have been told. James, what you think, sir?
So I met Scott before this, and it takes a set of balls to invite me to a class. He didn't know me. We know some similar people, but like I'm vocal, I'm a loudmouth, I'm known for that, and about shit I don't like. And so for him to invite me, I was like, oh, it's a chess move. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to fucking take this class. He's not poking me out. But no.
Can I say one thing before you go ahead? You know how many people I've invited to the class and they punked out?
What'd you do?
You know how many people I've invited to my class and then they punked out?
No, I canceled shit.
Yeah, I would honestly tell you, right, wrong, or indifferent, if you agree or disagree with this man on what he says, he showed up. He is the first one to show up. There you go. So there you go, sir. Yep. So I'm sorry.
My next point. I train all the time at other schools, and I'm not there to steal people's shit. I just like to shoot like you guys, right? You got your fucking money's worth in this class.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Like no bullshit. I've had a lot of fucking training. In English, we say teacher, Japanese, sensei, Chinese, seafood. I don't know what the fuck they say for your fucking pole out, Brian. There's a difference between being an instructor that just spits out curriculum and being a teacher who motivates and inspires. And that's what he is. That is me complimenting him. He is not a fucking instructor. He is a fucking teacher.
I appreciate that, sir. Emphasis on the fucking part.
Seriously, man.
I appreciate that, sir. I really do. Thank you, sir. Bev, you got anything, though, you want to add to the group?
Why don't we have these guys go and then I'll do my wrap up.
All right, cool. Sir? That being said, with secret sauce, right? Again, you guys, I promise you can drink it from a fire hose for those 2 days, right? If the notes don't stir your memory, okay? Appreciate you, sir. All right. If the notes don't stir your memory, my YouTube channel, Martin Samurai Project, right? I cover most of the stuff. I don't cover the vision stuff, right? But most of the stuff's in there. I don't give away the secret sauce, but you guys have already seen the secret sauce. So it might be enough to jog your memory. If, however, you'd like to spend some money, right? If you go to greyhive.com, G-R-E-Y hive.com, right? It's owned by my buddy, local Tennessean, Drew Estelle of Bear Solutions, right? I think it's like 10, 12 bucks a month. You got my whole 2-day curriculum right there of me talking and demoing and stuff like that. Plus that, you also get Drew's stuff and Garrett Swindell of CAG Works and stuff as well. It's a great value, just to help remind you. That said, our relationship does not need to end today. I am one phone call and one text away. I am not a long, detailed, multi-sentence email away. I fucking hate writing emails, guys, right? Just ask James and my response to his emails. I'm like, yep, no, good, thank you, bye, bye. You know, I hate writing emails. Bev's the email writer, right? But if you have anything, especially ULE with your departments and stuff like that, any help you need on getting things spun up, if you have questions, please do me a favor. Just reach out to me and I'll do the best I can to help you out. Okay, cool. What's your classification in IDPA?
My highest classification is expert.
Expert? Stop fucking around an expert and go for master, because you have the skill set, all right? By the way, those are magic words. Usually in USPSA, it's the kid who comes to my class, he's B class, and I tell him to stop fucking around in B class, and I think 3 or 4 masters, a couple of GMs, yada, yada, right? You're way too good of a shooter to be messing around with that shit, right? Especially in IDPA.
Okay, class is over. I'm here with Scott Jedlinski.
Something like that, yeah.
No, so he invited me to come to this class, and it has been fantastic. And I will say just right off the bat that if you have a red dot or you're considering getting a red dot for your pistol, this class must be taken. Like the usual class or some kind of class with him. He is the best in the business with this red dot thing. So he invited me to come to class because he heard like, I don't like red dots or something. And so I was here seeking information, and I got information. I learned a lot of things. I've been shooting for a long time, been shooting dots. I learned real stuff in this class. It's fantastic.
I appreciate that.
So for these folks that have no idea what we're talking about, what do we do in this class?
Yep, sure. So the core of the class, right, is I try and address the misconceptions with the red dot pistol, right? Not only the benefits of 1 focal plane shooting versus 3, target focus versus threat, versus sight focus, but talking about all the mechanics that lead to why you can't find the dot on your presentation, why you can't track it in recoil, and it's usually because you're doing extra stuff that you think you need to do or you think looks really cool, and you don't need to do it, right? My tagline basically these days is speed and accuracy come from efficiency. Efficiency comes from technique, right? And the thing about the dot as opposed to irons is that irons are superior in one way, is that they're always in your peripheral on the draw, but because of that, people get real lazy and the draw looks like that, right? The dot will not let you get away with that. But once you understand those efficient techniques to draw the dot, hold on to the gun, to track the dot, whether it's in a sedentary position or in transition or in moving, life becomes so much easier because it's the way we naturally process information, 1 focal plane, target, or threat focus.
I'm going to say something, you're welcome to disagree.
Yep.
I see red dots in the same sense of lasers for some people. They think they're going to buy that to get around practicing. What are your thoughts on that?
100% not.
Yeah, right.
100% not, right? If you don't have the proper, I like the word core competencies, right? Because you go to 10 different instructors, you get 10 different fundamentals and they explain half of them, right? I like core competencies, right? Stance, grip, and presentation, things of that nature. If you don't have those things, the red dot's gonna be worse, right? The analogy that I said, go ahead.
I don't know if it'd be worse, but
so here's my analogy with that. Irons are like a Honda Civic. Right? That Honda Civic is going to get you from point A and B, and you actually might be able to make that little rice burner pretty quick, right? But no one's going to argue that it's better than a Ferrari, right? But if you don't know how to drive that Ferrari, you're going to put it into the wall.
Right.
I think the same thing is between irons and the dot, right? You can be pretty lax with irons and be serviceable with it if you've got okay vision. right? But with the dot, if you don't know what to do with the dot, it's unforgiving because it's shrouded in a housing. And if you don't know what to do, it's just like that Ferrari, and you're gonna put it into the wall. But once you know how to drive that superior engine, that superior tool, you're going to be doing a lot of things more accurately and faster with half the work, like a high-end sports car.
Fair enough. I had a few questions, nothing crazy.
Okay.
Some of my folks want to know. Your preferred setup, gun and dot?
Well, right now, it's Walther, right? So in all fairness, right, I shoot for Walther, but I shoot for Walther because in my opinion, they are the best pistol company in the business right now.
Let's talk about what you and I spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
They listen.
Yeah, they listen, right? So when they first asked me to shoot for them, right, and I'm kind of pistol agnostic, right? So Glocks have certain features, M&Ps have certain features, SIGs have certain features, right? But the one thing when they brought together what we call the defense division together is like, look, I said to them, like, look, man, are you just recruiting a whole bunch of pretty faces and using our names for the marquee and not going to listen to us? They said, absolutely not. We want your feedback, right? And I'm very pleased. Like, so on the new PDP, they give me credit for the little swoop on the bottom for the red dot ergonomics thing, right? And the fact that they don't have a beaver tail on their gun, right? Because I hate beaver tails on striker fire guns, right? As a matter of fact, if you look at my Q5, I had AJ, my buddy AJ, cut that off because I don't like them. So they listened to me on that amongst with other Qs, right, from some of the other guys on there, Jim Dexter, Bill Blowers, and super excited about the new guns coming out the PDP line. So that's why I like Walthers. That being said, man, modern striker fire guns, they're all pretty good, right? Just understand what the benefits and features of each one of them and then start practicing.
Right. Favorite dot?
Oh, man.
I mean, I don't want to try to
Yeah.
wedge you into
So
something.
I will tell you the three dots that I use right now mostly. The Trijicon RMR, where I shot this class with, the Trijicon SRO, right, and the Holosun 509, right. I like the RMR because it's the OG, right. That thing is bomb proof, right. If you don't have a hammer, you want to build a house, use your RMR. It's fine. The SRO, amazing glass, big window. It makes people calm down because that big window is a big security blanket, right? As long as they don't drop their guns all the time, it'll be fine, right? The Holosun, I think right now has all the features and benefits for that person who wants that closed emitter, right? Great price point, great features, long battery life. Tons of other great optics out there. Those are just the three that are in my rotation right now.
Okay, fair enough. How often, okay, maintenance for your red dot, like how often do you do something to it?
Look, so if the manufacturer says that basically you have 2-year battery life on it, right? Like the Trijicons, like the Holosuns, okay? I take their recommended battery life and I divide it by 4, right? So 2 years, I change them out every 6 months because there ain't nothing more embarrassing than teaching a class and your dot goes out because of your battery life, right? So yeah, every 6 months. For example, that's why I don't shoot other ones because their battery life isn't that long. And if I cut that in by 4, I'm changing it out every week. I don't have time for that.
Okay.
I don't have time for that.
So let's talk about Modern Warrior. What do you have going on? What should they be interested in? Like, what they need? What am I not asking you that they need to know?
Yeah. So where do you find the schedule? Right there. There's 2 main places to find the schedule. Okay. The modernsamuraiproject.com website on the schedules there, and the Modern Samurai Project LLC page on Facebook. You'll find the schedule there. If I'm teaching 85 classes this year, right?
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Couldn't do it without my wife, right? If I'm not coming near you, it's because you're not looking hard enough, right? If I'm still not coming near you, then, well, just send an email to Beverly and Modern Samurai Project and host me. Might not be till 2022, 2023 right now, but I would love to come out, whether it's open enrollment or your agencies. Like I'm saying, half of my classes are LE only. So.
And think about this. If you think you want to go to a class of his and you see an opening, you should sign up. Like, they don't say open long, it appears.
No,
it appears.
I'm thinking it's anywhere from, class will sell out regardless of how far out it is, anywhere between 2.5 and 3 months. And we usually are putting up classes 6 to 9 months ahead of schedule.
Yep, long time.
Yep.
All right, so Facebook, Modern Warrior,
Modern Samurai Project, yep.
.com.
Just put in Modern Samurai Project and I'll pop up, right? I think there's only one other guy who goes by Modern Samurai Project. He's like some nouveau ballet dancer in Japan or something like that. Who knows? That might be me too. Hey, if you put that in, I'll pop up everywhere.
So I'll end with the same thing I began with. If you have a red dot on your pistol, this should be considered your concealed carry shooting course, your marksmanship course for that gun and dot. And there's no pretense here. He'll tell you, I'm not teaching you to be a gunfighter or anything like that, but he will teach you to drive that Ferrari as fast as you can drive it. Anything else?
Yep. No, that's good. I appreciate you coming out, man.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate you, sir.
So that's it, guys. I had an amazing time. I shot well, missed a few, okay? But when you push yourself, expect that you'll miss a few. But I really enjoyed Scott's teaching. He's very funny, he's very energetic. AJ was great helping out, a great shooter in his own right. Enjoyed the other students. Everybody was real fun to be around. A bunch of cops in his class, which was awesome. But overall, I think that Scott is a super great, wonderful instructor. And if you have a red dot on your pistol and you're carrying it for defense, whether you're a cop or a citizen, you should take one of his classes. The guy is the best in the world teaching red dots. So that's how I feel about that. This is James Yeager for Tactical Response, reminding you that your responsibility to be ready for the fight never ends.